A U.S. senator travels to El Salvador
This is an unsustainable and unjust moment.
in hopes of releasing the man the Trump administration says it mistakenly deported there. Meta in court.
We have to warn parents about what we are seeing.
A judge is hearing arguments over whether the social media giant is a monopoly or not. A power outage in Puerto Rico
It's not normal.
spreads fear across the land. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Julian Lascano.
I'm Samantha Gutierrez. Today is Thursday, April 17th, 2025.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
New details in the case of a Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador and his chances of returning to the U.S. This morning, the deportation fight continues after a case of a man mistakenly deported to El Salvador is being determined.
But a Maryland senator boarding a plane to El Salvador from D.C. is wasting no time to solve the issue. Caplin's Aaliyah Whitney has more on the story.
This is an unsustainable and unjust moment.
Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen in El Salvador, hoping to get eyes on Kilmar Abrigo Garcia, a Maryland man whose deportation has set off a legal and constitutional rights firestorm. His request to the country's vice president went unfulfilled.
He said he was not able to make that happen.
The senator was also denied a phone call with Abrigo Garcia, whose deportation case escalated to the Supreme Court last week, when all 9 justices voted unanimously to uphold a lower federal judge's ruling that the Trump administration worked for Abrigo Garcia's return and access to due process.
The Supreme Court was clear. They must facilitate his release.
It's the use of that word facilitate and the federal judge's ruling, upheld by the Supreme Court, at the center of the Trump administration's argument to leave Abrigo Garcia where he is, suggesting that facilitate means the U.S. won't block his entry if El Salvador decides to release him.
President Bukele said he was not sending him back. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back.
U.S. officials allege Abrigo Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang. Abrigo Garcia's attorneys dispute that claim. While the judicial fight plays out in the U.S. Senator Van Hollen says his trip is only the beginning.
I may be the first United States senator to visit El Salvador on this issue, but there will be more, and there will be more members of Congress coming.
I'm Aaliyah Whitney reporting with Caplin News.
This morning, a letter emerges from Secretary of State Marco Rubio where he endorses the termination of temporary protective status for 600,000 Venezuelans in the U.S. The Cuban-American politician urged the Biden administration in 2022 to extend TPS, citing the ongoing crisis under strongman Nicolas Maduro's regime. The letter was directed to the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on January 31st and was revealed during a federal court case where advocacy groups sued to maintain the extension Biden gave Venezuelans in January that the Trump administration had ended.
There's plans for massive cuts to the federal health budget by the Trump administration. This information comes from an internal document that dates April 10th, with CNN reviewing the document. To form a healthy America, dozens of programs would be joined under the newly created administration. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will also have more than 40% of the budget cut. Chronic disease prevention, gun violence, and minor health are part of the multiple CDC programs being eliminated. Currently, there is no finalized plan and additional changes may occur.
The fate of the Menendez brothers is on the line this morning as they prepare for a resentencing hearing later today. CNN's Amy Kiley has more on the high-profile case.
So there's a very real possibility that Eric and Lyle Menendez are before the parole board in a matter of months.
The Menendez brothers have a chance for eventual freedom as their resentencing hearing begins in Los Angeles this afternoon. Eric and Lyle Menendez are serving life in prison without parole for the high-profile murders of their parents in 1989.
If they get sentenced to something like 50 to life, which is what George Gascon recommended, the brothers would be immediately eligible for parole because they're youthful offenders. And under California law, if you serve half your sentence or 25 years, you're up for parole.
George Gascon is the former Los Angeles County District Attorney. He says a Netflix documentary helped persuade him to review the case, and that led him to file a motion in support of resentencing. Current DA Nathan Hochman says he disagrees with that motion, but a judge isn't allowing him to withdraw it. Hochman claims the brothers haven't taken full responsibility for the deaths of Jose and Kitty Menendez.
They do not meet the standards for resentencing. They do not meet the standards for rehabilitation.
Family members argue the brothers are rehabilitated. They say the killings were the result of childhood abuse.
And it's about giving people the chance to show who they are now, not just who they were in their worst moment.
I'm Mimi Kiley reporting.
Concerns regarding the use of social media are growing every day, with teenagers being the most at risk. This comes after a judge is hearing arguments over whether Facebook's parent company Meta created a monopoly when it bought Instagram and WhatsApp. CNN's Jen Sullivan has more information.
Teens are using social media at a rapid rate, and studies show it's impacting their mental health. A 2023 Surgeon General advisory found up to 95% of kids ages 13 to 17 reported using a social media platform, a third saying they use it almost constantly. The report also cited a study that adolescents who spend more than 3 hours per day on social media face double the risk for poor mental health outcomes, including symptoms of depression and anxiety.
We have to warn parents about what we are seeing.
Following this shocking research, Vivek Murthy, who was U.S. Surgeon General under President Joe Biden at the time, pushed for social media to have a Surgeon General's warning, something tobacco products have. But that never happened. However, social media companies are taking note about the dangers. Meta, the owner of Facebook and Instagram, announcing new safety measures for teen users 1 week before its antitrust trial began.
We're enrolling teens across the country in the teen account experience on Facebook and Messenger.
Jennifer Hanley is Meta's head of safety policy for North America. She's also a mom to 2 young kids.
I'm not dealing with social media yet, but I'm already having conversations about screen time and what going online looks like for me.
Meta says teen users were automatically rolled into these new accounts. It allows parents to set limits on how much time they can spend on the apps, the hours their kids can use them, and control the content they follow. They've also launched a website with ways to set up parental controls.
We know that they're worried, and we really want to make sure that they have peace of mind about their kids' experiences.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Puerto Rico lost power Wednesday after all the island's plants went offline, affecting 1.5 million customers. Officials don't know the cause yet, but power could take at least a day to restore. The energy chief previously warned of summer blackouts due to limited capacity. The grid has struggled since Hurricane Irma in 2017, which left some without electricity for nearly a year.
Es muy vergonzoso.
It's a real shame that a country like ours, which is supposedly an island of enchantment, has to go through so much constantly.
La de encanto.
The island is still in a blackout, and no one knows when it will be 100% recovered.
A police officer in Volusia County has a near miss with a driver Sunday, and it was all caught on dash cam. According to a Volusia Sheriff's Office, a VSO sergeant and a Florida Highway Patrol trooper were responding to the scene of a collision between a car and a deer on I-95. Suddenly, an SUV drove off the highway, coming close to hitting them, colliding with the VSO patrol vehicle and spinning out onto the highway. The Sheriff's Office urges members of the public to stay alert for emergency lights and move over for first responders and disabled vehicles on the road.
The Heat looking to keep their playoff hopes alive against a familiar foe in the play-in.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
Refer to me as Dan.
But first, Heat fans see double while shopping at a retail appliance store. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes.
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Panthertech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
The home improvement store Lowe's has a new salesman taking over.
You might think he looks like a certain Miami Heat star, but that's a common mistake.
We bring you to Caplin's Anthony Cruz to clear up the confusion.
It's not every day that you get to meet an NBA player, and it's especially not every day that you get to meet an NBA player selling appliances at Lowe's. Well, that's exactly what Dan Adebayo was doing today.
Refer to me as Dan.
No, this is not Heat captain and 3-time All-Star Bam Adebayo. Instead, you're looking at his cousin Dan, who partnered with Hisense Group to meet fans while working on a special project. But how good were his acting chops?
Surprisingly, he's actually really, really good. We did not know this. In fact, he's so method about this that he has come up with his own backstory. Since he's been out here, he's been telling people that he's going to get fired if he doesn't sell a fridge or or electric range.
Fans were also excited to meet the Heat star during a regular day of shopping.
So, Dan did look suspicious, but of course I have no reason to question a man's motive over here. But he had I think we had a good time.
And Bam is known for stuffing the stat sheet in the NBA. But how good does Dan think he matches up?
So who's better, Bam Adebayo as an NBA player or Dan the salesman?
Dan the salesman for sure. I feel like Bam Adebayo does a lot of on-the-court where he doesn't have to interact with a lot of people but his teammates. And Dan, we got to interact with everybody, the community.
Well, I think we know who Dan is going to be rooting for in the playoffs. Reporting for Caplin News from North Miami, I'm Anthony.
That was Anthony Cruz reporting. The Heat will live to fight another day after a decisive win against the Chicago Bulls in their first play-in game last night. These teams have faced off 3 other times throughout the season, the Bulls coming out on top every time. But when it mattered the most, Tyler Hero and the Miami Heat put up a dominant performance in Chicago. The Heat were up 71-47 in just the first half. Miami never let go of the lead to win the first game of the play-in. The final score was Heat 109, Chicago 90. The Heat will travel down to Georgia to face off the Atlanta Hawks for the chance to claim a spot in the playoffs. You can watch this game tomorrow at 7 p.m.
And the Florida Panthers face off against the Tampa Bay Lightning in the last game of the regular season. The Lightning struck early with a pass by Yanni Gourde to Braden Point to give them the early lead. Tampa kept bringing the Thunder, scoring goal after goal to push them 4-0 late in the second period. The Cats were able to put on 1 on the board with a goal by Brad Markin, but it wasn't enough to push them ahead. The final score was Panthers 1, Lightning 5. The Panthers will return to Tampa where they'll start the playoffs in a few days. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Bill is a family man. He invests his money wisely and provides a good life for his children. Just one problem. He often opens emails from senders he doesn't know, and his computer is not password protected. One day, Bill checked his bank account and 94% of malware attacks originate from emails. Don't be like Bill. Take your cybersecurity seriously.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Samantha Gutierrez.
And I'm Julian Lascano. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.